Us what's happening there in Dakwana. You gave us a nice report earlier.
Good afternoon again, Nompu. Yes, we are getting closer and closer to the beginning of this event, and I think if I can take on to this message that former President Kgalema Motlanthe has been spreading around, and that is the message that they as former presidents are privileged enough to have access to sitting presidents and the ordinary people on the ground, and as a result they are a good conduit or bridge, if you like, to bridge the divide that we see. But also, if you see how he as a former president has come out and is quite active, and we see him as opposed to in the past where people like veterans, for instance, that we are seeing here today. I've seen people like Trevor Fowler who are here today. In the past we would not necessarily see them, or they were a lone voice even if they came out. But to talk to us about the disparities or the difference that we are seeing since President Cyril Ramaphosa took over is SACP's Solima Paila. Ndate, you are here today, and one would probably not see this in the past. Is it not so?
Yes and no. Would have been here but differently. But I think it's quite positive that we are here to complement the work that has been done by former President Kgalema Motlanthe, because we think this work is very crucial to build a common perspective across various sections of South African society, to focus on the challenges that we face and how to arrive at solutions, all of us, so that someone like himself who he can take some of the resolutions from here and put them right through to the door of governance. And I think there will be a positive consideration of some of the perspectives. We are much more also glad that he has become much more public and much more engaging, more proactive in this space, because as you know, Comrade Kgalema generally is a man of great ideas, deep thoughts, and he wants to go to the finer details, and we are looking forward to a very good outcome out of this process.
But of course, as I say, if you look back at what used to happen and you compare to what's happening currently, and you look at the role that the SACP played in terms of getting change to happen in the country, when you look at your constituency, workers, the ordinary class of the country, who are now unhappy, of course, about the petrol increase in the country, the petrol price, who are unhappy about the minimum wage in the country and how it's being handled, even though it's been passed. Can South Africans continue to have Ramaphoria, if you like?
Well, I don't know what Ramaphoria is, but I think what is important is that there was a good sense of goodwill from all South Africans as a consequence of the ANC Nasrec conference in December, and the fact that the South African people have generally welcomed President Ramaphosa. I think it's important to appreciate the fact that South Africa exists in a capitalist environment. And part of the major inequalities in this country are structural from a point of view of the capitalist system, which all over the world has never catered for the majority who are poor. It has only used those majority to abstract their labor, utilize that labor for its own profit maximization. I think it's very much important that we have to find a mechanism to chip into the system of capitalism. We in the Communist Party want it completely destroyed. It's a system that has failed to actually liberate humanity. Humanity can liberate itself from social spheres, but capitalism oppresses them by basically enslaving their labor and capturing that labor, appropriating that labor, and paying it a pittance wage. But at the moment, the issue that we are raising about the petrol price and so forth under the current capitalist system that is determined by international oil prices and oil movement, the role of the US currency largely and other international currencies. But of course, we have to focus on our own problem that such kind of things can be averted. We need to move in speedily with the implementation of the minimum wage, but also understand that the minimum wage is only but a platform towards a living wage. But for the living wage to come, workers must be fully mobilized, come on the street and demand a proper living wage. That's why as a Communist Party, we have called on workers to come together. We encouraged yesterday to see NUMSA and NUM coming together to protest outside Eskom to fight for wage increases, which we think that Eskom should consider the demands of workers rather than the arrogance that they've displayed, trying also to almost, if you like, to bribe workers in a way of simply saying, look, if you demand this, there will be no light in the country. That kind of attitude is not correct. We think workers can come together across various sections of our society to fight even the capitalist restructuring of the workplace, which has led to casualization of labor brokering, actually even the actual demeaning of work itself, so that we can regain work and appreciate the role and importance of work as the creator of wealth. That is why it's critical that we must get our people on the job place, and this platform also will contribute to that effect.
For you to feel like your time here was worthwhile, what will this event have achieved?
We would want to see some out-of-the-box thinking, not to regurgitate what we have always heard before as solutions that we need to apply to current challenges that we face. For instance, we think people can come with ideas. There will be a former statistician general, Palilo Hotla here, a great thinker, a man that understands planning and the use of statistics. We want to hear him now outside the framework of limitations of government, what he will say to the application of those statistics to function for us in terms of making us plan better and so forth. But also to look into how is it possible, for instance, to tackle this crisis of unemployment, particularly amongst the youth, and how to mobilize the youth energies and their skills and energies to contribute effectively to a better South Africa. So we want out-of-the-box kind of solutions, but there are primary issues that we think that government can respond to. That way we will be also contributing to think about 24-hour working day. Not in terms of a single worker, that is 24-hour work process for retail sector, for government sector, that kind of a thing. But we need to study those models, whether they can be applicable here. Because in that way we can absorb more people into the skills, but the government may say we don't have funds, but we may look into how to get funds. So as much as we are waiting for investment, foreign direct investment, that cannot be the only solution to the crisis that we face. So we'll explore all of those things and put them up. The statisticians, the economists can then look into their metrics and see how they can help society as a whole.
Thank you very much, Kgalema Motlanthe of the SACP, talking to us here a few hours before this event starts and indicating, of course, that thinking outside the box is what is required here. A 24-hour day, we'll see. But definitely there is an item on the agenda here about making space for youth participation. Nompu?
Thanks very much. That's our senior reporter, Ntakwana Ngatane, reporting from Champagne Valley in KZN.